Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, dig in, and really try to pull out the key insights for you, get you up to speed quickly.
Mm-hmm. And today, we're diving into something pretty exciting, the electric vehicle revolution. It's all sparked by, well, one listener's enthusiasm, really.
Right. We've got two main things to look at.
Yeah, first is this piece called Ode to Tesla, Musk, and Electric Age. It's by Lev Neymotin, PhD. Very personal. You can tell he's really enjoying his EV.
An ode, no less.
So,
and then we also have his resume, Lev Neymotin's resume from 2025. That gives some context about the author himself.
Exactly. So the goal here, our mission, isn't just like a car review.
No, definitely not.
We want to get at the thrill, the feeling he describes, but also maybe the bigger picture, the significance of this tech shift that he captures. Why write an ode?
Let's start right there with that feeling, that immediate impression he had.
Okay, so the first big thing in the ode is this feeling of power. He literally calls it Superman power.
Wow.
Yeah, the acceleration. It clearly blew him away right off the bat. And what's interesting is he says he's not really a sports car guy.
Ah, so this wasn't just like a faster version of something familiar. This was totally new territory for him.
Exactly. A whole new kind of responsiveness. He even talks about needing a bit of a learning curve,
Yeah.
Getting his own reactions synced up with how fast the car responded.
Makes sense if it's that instant. He mentioned starting in chill mode too, right?
He did, yeah. Which tells you something. Even the dialed back version is pretty potent.
But that feeling, being pressed to the back of the seat, just touching the pedal, that's visceral. You can understand why that grabs you.
Totally. And it's not just the going fast part. He then moves on to the braking, the electromagnetic brakes, or really this idea of one pedal driving.
Right. Explain that a bit. How does that work?
Well, basically, when you lift your foot off the accelerator, the electric motor works in reverse, kind of. It slows the car down pretty effectively and captures that energy, puts it back into the battery.
Regenerative braking.
Exactly. So you end up controlling your speed mostly just with the one pedal, the accelerator.
Which he points out is kind of a funny name for it in that context.
Yeah, he did find that amusing. An inappropriate name, I think he said. But the point is, he's barely using the actual brake pedal.
And he felt that made driving safer. How so?
Well, his take was that it helps you stay more focused. Because you're constantly modulating your speed with that one pedal, you're maybe more engaged, less likely to be switching feet distractedly, perhaps.
Interesting perspective.
And this is kind of funny. He said he actually started enjoying coming to a full stop at stop signs.
Really? Why?
Just to feel that smooth, controlled deceleration from the regen braking. It's like a different kind of interaction with the car, not just jamming on a brake. It suggests a certain refinement.
Yeah, elegant is a word that comes to mind. Okay, so moving from driving dynamics, what about comfort? He mentions climate control.
Oh yeah, big point for him, the instant heat.
Ah, yes. Anyone who's waited for a freezing car engine to warm up gets this immediately.
Absolutely. He contrasts it directly with gas cars, where you're shivering for the first 5-10 minutes while the engine gets up to temp.
With the Tesla, it's just on. Electric heat.
Instantly. And he mentions the steering wheel heating up quickly, too. Little things, but they add up to, well, a much nicer experience, especially when it's cold out. Seems very user-focused.
Definitely. Okay, now, Autopilot. This is always a big topic. He dives into pros and cons here.
He does, yeah. Tries to be balanced. On the pro side, he talks about its precision, calls driving assertive.
Assertive, what does he mean by that?
Like it makes decisions quickly, confidently, lane changes, adjustments. He said it can save time, and initially at least it was kind of breathtaking to watch. He calls it a marvel of AI and programming.
Okay, so he appreciates the tech side of it.
Very much. But then the cons, he talks about diminished control and a subtle sense of loss of independence.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Giving up some of that direct input, even if you trust the system.
Right. And he's very clear this isn't, kick back and read a book time.
No. Still hands on the wheel, eyes on the road.
Exactly. You have to stay focused. It assists. It doesn't replace you entirely. So you can't really do other things.
So it's a helper, a co-pilot maybe, but not a chauffeur yet.
Pretty much sums it up. But importantly, his overall conclusion. Pros overwhelmingly outweigh the cons for him.
Okay, so despite the caveats, he's still very much on board with it.
Seems so. And it gets him thinking, actually, about the future. He proposes an R&D project.
Oh, really? What kind?
Focused on sleep prevention when autopilot is engaged. How to keep the driver alert.
Interesting. How would that work?
Well, he gets pretty specific, suggesting using light or sound, but maybe at frequencies or intensities that aren't consciously noticed.
Like subliminal signals.
Sort of, yeah. Targeting the part of the nervous system that controls alertness without being, an annoying flashing light or beep. He thinks research is needed there.
And he pitches this idea directly to Elon Musk in the Ode.
Yeah, he does. A direct address. Shows his enthusiasm, right? And his belief that this tech can keep getting better.
Right. Clearly an engaged user. Okay, then there's this addendum. He brings in Ray Bradbury.
Yes, this was a really cool part. He connects this whole experience, the start of what he calls the real electric age, back to Bradbury's science fiction visions.
How so?
He remembers Bradbury's descriptions of these automated electric houses, houses that kept running routines even after the people were gone, cleaning, cooking, all powered by electricity.
Right, those classic sci-fi images.
Exactly. He mentions the imagery of robotic mice cleaning, the house catching fire and fighting it with automated nozzles, electrified cables. Bradbury gave electricity this sense of having a will, a reflex, a sting, even mentioned electric bees.
Wow. So Neymotin sees the Tesla and this electric shift as kind of the beginning of that future becoming real.
That's the feeling, yeah. Like science fiction meeting reality. His final line in that section is just Bradbury meet Musk.
That's fantastic. It really frames it as more than just a car.
Definitely adds a layer of wonder. Okay, so to really understand where all this insight and enthusiasm comes from, let's quickly look at his background, the resume.
Right. Lev Neymotin, PhD. What field is his doctorate in?
Mechanical engineering. And his experience is, well, it's substantial. He worked at Brookhaven National Laboratory.
Oh, okay. Doing what?
As a mechanical and nuclear engineer and a project manager. He was involved in nuclear reactor safety analysis, consequence analyses, big international projects, serious stuff.
Wow. So complex systems, safety, engineering.
Yeah.
That's his world.
Absolutely. And even before that, in Russia, he worked in thermonuclear and magnetohydrodynamic power engineering.
Okay, so we're talking deep, fundamental understanding of energy, physics, advanced engineering here.
Precisely. And now he's CEO of a company called N5 Digital, Inc., involved in various tech areas.
So connecting that back to the Ode, this isn't just someone excited about a new toy.
Not at all. His appreciation for the Tesla seems grounded in a real understanding of the engineering achievement. He gets why the acceleration feels like Superman power from an engineering perspective. He understands the complexity behind Autopilot.
It gives his Ode a lot more credibility, doesn't it? It's informed enthusiasm.
Exactly. It blends the user experience, the sheer joy of it, with a deeper appreciation for the science and technology making it possible.
So let's try and wrap this up, our deep dive into Lev Neymotin's writings. What's the core takeaway?
I think it's that blend he captures. It's elegance, it's engineering, it's advanced tech, all coming together into something that feels like a marvel, something that genuinely evokes a feeling of the future. His Ode nails that excitement.
Yeah, it's more than just transportation. And for you, listening, this gives a really interesting shortcut, maybe, into understanding the experience of this EV shift.
It goes beyond just the specs or the environmental points. It touches on that thrill, the innovation, how it feels day to day, and even, as Neymotin shows us, how it connects to these bigger cultural dreams we've had about technology, like those Bradbury visions.
Right. So maybe a final thought to leave you with. How does your own experience with new technology, maybe not a car, but anything, how does it connect to these larger ideas? Progress, automation, the future we imagine?
Yeah, where do you see those echoes of, maybe not Bradbury, but of the futures we've been promised or have imagined, showing up in the tech you use today?
Something to think about.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.